Yeah, I don't have the interpreter button underneath. Got it. Thanks. Waheguru.
Welcome, everyone. As usual, before we do our introductions, we will chant Adgare Name. Let's bring our hands together. Adgare Name, Jagadgare Name, Satgare Name, Siri Gurdeve Name. Adgare Name, Jagadgare Name, Satgare Name, Siri Gurdeve Name. Adgare Name, Jagadgare Name, Satgare Name, Siri Gurdeve Name. So welcome, everyone. Before I introduce our distinguished presenters, I will give you technical advice. If you look on the bottom of your screen, if you have not already found it, there is a place that says interpretation. There's a globe. And if you click that, then it says English, Spanish, and whatever language you want to hear this in, I suggest you click it. Some of us will be speaking in English, and that will be translated into Spanish. And I've suggested that one of us speak in her home language of Spanish, and our selfless interpreter, Liftar Kaur, will translate that into English. So click the button that you want to hear in. We could have Russian here, we could have Punjabi, we could have German, but we're going to wing it. And some of us, we're just going to do our best with our second language. All right, I'm going to click English here. All right. So
if I go into Punjabi, Guru Fatha, you're going to have to come translate that.
We will be lost. And if Prabhujap goes into Russian, we will be really, really lost.
So Punjabi and Russians, you would say at the moment they are just speaking Russian.
All right, so might as well start with introducing. This is Gurminder Singh, and he is broadcasting from Malaysia. He is a scientist, a technologist, a former investment banker, and an entrepreneur. So he's made a lot of money, this guy. So since 1978, he interacted, traveled, and worked with Siri Singh Sahib Ji in various capacities, primarily in technology, in business, and as an investment advisor. In 1996, he was instructed by Siri Singh Sahib Ji to write the preface and synopsis of 3 books. One is Satguru, Siri Guru, and Shabad Guru, the metamorphosis of Sikhi and Guruship. The second book is The Way of the Khalsa, and the third is titled Creating Leaders, Masters, and Mentors. Siri Singh Sahib Ji provided Gurminder Singh Ji with the narrative of these books, future implications, but collective research was to be carried out to complete these yet to be published books. So I'm bugging Gurminder Singh about these books. It's still to be published. Now living in Malaysia and assisting the Gurpuri Foundation for Sikh Foster Children, he was the founder of the International Green Technology Institute at the University of California in Los Angeles and former president of Transformative Capital Inc. So that's Gurminder Singh. Welcome. And alphabetically, I will go to Nidhan Kaur. So say something Nidhan. By saying it, I think you end up in the center of the screen here. Can you say Satnam?
Satnam.
There we go. There's Nidhan.
Yes.
So she has been practicing and teaching the teachings as taught by Siri Singh Sahib for 27 years. Since 1995, she began to serve in Chile, and since 1998, she began to travel and take the teachings in a pioneering way to countries such as Peru, Bolivia, Colombia, and Venezuela, where she helped to form the first communities of teachers. In 2010, she created the foundation Women of Light, a pioneer organization in combining yogic teachings for women and social intervention. This organization expanded to 5 countries in South America, managing to create agreements with government programs dedicated to women in situations of violence. In the last 10 years, she has dedicated herself to traveling the world, especially China, where she has been intensively teaching the last 7 years. With studies in anthropology, gender studies, and neuroscience and feminine leadership, Nam Nidhan continues to focus on her teaching toward women and their self-knowledge based on the teachings of Kundalini Yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan. Currently, she continues to study these teachings on a daily basis, along with her service and teaching to those who come to learn. She is also a mother of 3 daughters and a grandmother of a precious child.
Thank you.
Prabhujap, can you just give us a Satnam?
Satnam, that's me.
That's your picture. I don't know what they're seeing. Anyway, that is Satnam. That is Prabhujap. That was his voice. And so he is a Kundalini Yoga teacher from Moscow. And he is a Sikh. He is the author of unique yoga seminars. He is a musician, a happy husband, and father. Practicing yoga daily for 15 years, he conducts personal courses and group classes all over Russia and neighboring countries. He helps people to overcome anxieties and internal conflicts by consulting them on the personal life and relationships. His view of the world inspires people for deep personal transformation and spiritual growth. And he is a composer and vocalist in Yogin Roll. We'll visit Yogin Roll later. So those of you who are participating from all over, you should know that we will finish. I think Prabhujap will finish with chanting. Yes?
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic. And we'll sing Long Time Sun in Russian, yes?
No, actually, we will sing on English because I don't like the Russian version.
Okay. All right. Fine, we'll do it in English. There's so many versions, you know, the Spanish version, French, Dutch, so many versions, but you don't, okay. And Nam Nidhan Kaur, she has a pressing appointment, so she'll be with us for the first 2 hours, and then we'll say adios, and you go on to your other thing. All right, fantastic. Who would like to start with just sharing a bit of your story about your relationship with the Siri Singh Sahib? We haven't decided this. Anybody want? No. Who's not shy?
Nidhan, if you want to start, otherwise I can.
Okay, I start. Hablo español, okay? Tú traduces, Victor. I can do it in English, but you told me that most of people speak Spanish, right?
95%, I think, in this group are Spanish speakers.
So, voy a hablar en español, entonces. Después de una intensa búsqueda personal y de pasar por muchas situaciones en que me sentía que no encontraba el camino de mi vida, llegó el momento en que un profesor que era el único profesor del sur de Chile, llegó a mi casa. El profesor vino a mi casa y me enseñó las enseñanzas. Inmediatamente yo supe que eso era lo que había estado buscando toda mi vida. Fue instantáneo, lo supe inmediatamente. La primera clase me puse a llorar, mi corazón explotó. Y estuve practicando con él. Después tomé, en ese momento en Chile solo había una formación con 5 personas. Y las enseñanzas llegaron, las empecé a practicar. A los 3 meses empecé a hacer sadhana todos los días y eso me cambió para siempre. Estuve haciendo 6 meses y me fui, tomé la decisión de hacerme Sikh. Y me hice Sikh no porque conociera a los gurús o la historia de Sikh Dharma, me hice Sikh porque yo amaba las enseñanzas y quería entregar mi vida a ellas. Y amaba al maestro por todo lo que significaba. Y para mí fue muy fácil ponerme un turbante. Era como si siempre lo hubiera usado. Y decidí ir a Estados Unidos para conocer al maestro y conocer al Sangat. Y ese creo que ha sido el momento más hermoso de mi vida, cuando estaba volando en el avión y iba a llegar allá. Era un anhelo de mi alma inmenso, inmenso. Y cuando llegué era el solsticio de invierno en Light Wells, en Florida. Y ahí tomé los votos de Sikh y conocí a la comunidad, que fue impresionante. Y yo quería hablar con el maestro, quería hablar con él y no me dejaron hablar con él. Pero me dijeron que el maestro iba a estar el día 27 de diciembre en una conferencia en Fort Lauderdale. Y yo dije, bueno, me voy a quedar, lo voy a esperar. Y me quedé con otras personas y ese día era el día de mi cumpleaños. Yo cumplía 30 años. Y ese día, las personas que estaban conmigo sabían. Y el maestro dijo, a ver, ¿quién está de cumpleaños? Y la primera relación que yo tuve con él fue esa. Él me hizo pararme y me cantó feliz cumpleaños y le pidió a Guru Ramdas por mí. Me hizo una oración y eso fue la bendición más grande que he recibido en la vida. Después de eso fui a hablar con él la primera vez. Tengo una foto de eso cuando yo estaba hablando con él la primera vez. Y después de eso, estuve un mes. Creo que la oración fue tan potente, tan poderosa, que ese mes toda mi vida dio vuelta, completa. No podía salir a la calle, ya no podía hacer la vida que tenía antes. Y además regresé a Chile con un turbante en la cabeza. No había nadie, una sola persona, que era Harinam Kaur, la esposa de Pritampal. No había nadie con turbante. Y llegué con un turbante en mi cabeza y mi mamá, que estaba acostumbrada a que yo siempre hacía cosas diferentes, me dice, ¿y ahora vas a andar así? Y yo le dije, sí, voy a andar así. Y mi mamá seguramente pensaba que se me iba a pasar, que era otra cosa más rara de las que yo hacía. Y se dio cuenta que no, que era para siempre y que nunca más me lo saqué. Y bueno, así empezó la historia. Y luego, cada 6 meses, yo iba a Estados Unidos a estar en la comunidad, a visitar al maestro. ¿Quieren que cuente más o solo el inicio de cómo lo conocí? No voy a contar toda la historia. Do you want me to tell the whole story or just how I met him?
Go on, go on, go on.
Yes? Okay. Because maybe you want to, do blogs.
You're gonna go early, so we'll take lots of time with you for the beginning. Another, say, 10 minutes. Okay?
Okay. Okay. So then I went on every solstice, summer solstice, winter solstice, and the only thing I wanted is to go to the ashram in Española and be there. I did it for 9 years, every year, and I went there and spent the whole month or a month and a half when I could do it, and stay there and share with everybody. And that was really the most important point for me, to be there with the Sangat and with him every day in the classes, in the women's camp. And that really changed my life. And the only thing I wanted, bueno, voy a volver a español. La única cosa que quería era hablar con él, aunque sea una frase, aunque me diga 4 cosas, porque yo sabía que me iba a decir la palabra perfecta. Y esas palabras se quedaban conmigo para todo el año, eran mi palabra guía. Y siempre mantuve una comunicación muy, muy cercana, todas las cosas que me pasaban, yo siempre le escribía y él me contestaba. Bueno, hay muchas anécdotas que creo que todos vamos a compartir acá, de esas enseñanzas tan importantes que nos dio. Gracias.
Waheguru. Satnam. Thank you for sharing. Prabhujap, how about you?
Yeah, I'm here. You want to hear my story?
I think so.
Okay. Well, my story begins, I think, in 2007 or 2008. Actually, I have big problems with my memory because of tons of marijuana that I smoked before. Because my story begins from the rock band. Actually, I was a local rock star. And I was living like a rock star. It was local, but anyway, I had a habit to use a lot of drugs, and I had a lot of women, more than 100, like any rock star should have. That's how I'm thinking in that time. So year by year, it makes me a very stressful and depressed person, So I think in 2007 or 2008, I start to feel like really crazy man. I had problems with relationship, with my addiction, and my rock band just was broken. So I need to do something. What I thought in that days that I need to start from the beginning, like from the 0 point. So at that time, my friend, he was a very good friend for me actually, and he said, okay, if it is a beginning, maybe you need to try Hatha Yoga, because he was practicing these asanas, all these things. I said, okay, if you think that it will help me, I will try. So I start practicing Hatha Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, maybe 1 year. And it was like only physical exercises for me. I didn't felt anything. Just like some exercises. But one day, at one yoga studio, one teacher just asked me, hey, we need a boy we need a boy right now for the class because we do exercises in pairs. And I don't have a boy. I need to show to my students some exercises. So if you can help us, please come in. So I said, okay, if you want. So I went in the class, and all the group was in white clothes. No, they was look like a sect. And I said, and I thought, like, oh my God, where am I? What is this? What the hell? So that teacher, she was a woman, and she asked me to help her to do this and do that, and to breathe, and then to make this exercise and make this point. So it was like something really strange and something really new. But at that time, I start to feel, oh my God, it's something like a drug, but I didn't use. So what is this? What is wrong? Why I feel high? So after that, I was really interested in. So I start to asking her, that teacher, that woman, like, what was that? I feel like I'm high, and I really like it. So what kind of yoga is this? And she said, this is a Kundalini yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan. And if you like it, please come any Tuesdays, any Thursdays, please, if you want. So after that, I start to practice regular. And from that day, I start to feel that, oh, I feel good, and then I feel nice, and then I feel very nice, and then I feel very, very good. So, and maybe in 2009, that teacher said to me that I need to be a teacher, maybe. She said, you need to try. There is a courses, and you have very good sensitivity, right? Sensitivity? Yeah. So you need to try. And that was my first course of Kundalini Yoga teacher course, I mean. So after that, I was like a fanatic, actually, because I did a lot of exercises daily. And that year, I practiced maybe 4 years or 4 hours every day, like 2 hours of sadhana and then kriyas in the evening, like every day. And I think maybe in 2010, I start to ask myself, what am I doing? What kind of mantras I sing in? What is the japji that I practice every day? What is this? I need to find a root. So of course, I found Sikh Dharma. I start to read about it. I start to, I made my investigation. So in 2011, on a big Russian yoga festival, I met Nidhan Kaur of Khalsa. And I was confusing about my inner questions, because one part of myself wanted to be a Sikh, but other part was like a normal citizen, like usual guy. So I asked Nidhan Kaur of Khalsa. I decided to ask her. And I remember that day, I've come to her and asked Nidhan, what do you think? I have an idea, but I don't know. Maybe I should become a Sikh. And her answer was amazing. She was like, oh my God, of course, you need to be. You don't need to have doubts. Of course, this is your way. You will like it. So she sent me to go to Amritsar and to find Gurminder Singh Khalsa. She said that he will help you. Okay, I think my first visit was in 2013, maybe. Maybe it was not the first visit, but I became a Sikh in 2013. That's what I remember for sure, because that was actually the first meeting with Parvinder was amazing. You know, it was a miracle. You need to believe me, because you know all that I had is a phone number, nothing more, just phone number of some guy. And I was alone in Amritsar the first time. It was like, oh my God, how can I find this guy? I called him, and his voice just said to me, you need to stay on that place, on tourist place near the Golden Temple, and we will meet. I said, okay. When I came to that place, there was a lot of tourists like me around me, a lot of guys from different countries. Oh my God, huge crowd. So I was standing like, how can he find me? How can he recognize me? And at the same time, a lot of Sikh people around me. And I was thinking, how can I recognize him? But can you believe, in one moment, the huge crowd, you know, spread like this. It's not a joke. It was like spread like this, and at other point, like maybe 100 meters or more, there was a really, really strange Sikh, really strange. He was not looks like any others. At that moment, I start to think, he looks like a Snoop Dogg, but Sikh Snoop Dogg. Yeah, it's a Snoop Dogg, but he's a Sikh. And this guy was looking directly on me. A lot of tourists around me, but he was looking like directly on me. And I recognized, okay, that is the guy. That is the true guy. So, and my next memory, it's about how I converted. I mean, that was an amazing day. It was Guru Ramdas' birthday, 9th of October. And Parvinder Singh made a lot of preparations for me. He explained a lot. He opened different things, but the whole process should be on Punjabi. So I asked Parvinder, okay, I don't know Punjabi, and you want me to go at Akal Tahat, and what should I do? I don't know Punjabi. And it goes maybe 3 or 4 hours because a lot of people inside. And Parvinder said to me, that is not a problem. All that you need to do is to listen and repeat Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru mentally. I said, what are you talking about? I don't know the language. And you said that I just need to chant. How can I understand all the, directions? And he said, you don't need to worry about it. Just repeat Waheguru. I said, okay. So maybe 100 people in this building, and all this process goes, and the main guy start talking, pure Punjabi, of course. And I said, okay, I will do as my Parvinder Singh said. So I closed my eyes and start to repeat Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. And can you imagine? It's not a joke. whole information, a lot of information start to go inside me. You know, pure directions, some things about Sikh lifestyle. It was like, oh my God, oh my God. And on the next day, it was my birthday. So I goes 30 on the next day. So that was amazing experience, of course. So after that, I was walking in turban in all the Russia. And that's funny because there is no a lot of Sikhs in Moscow. But more of that, one of the years I was lived in suburban, and there is a very, special town near the Moscow. It calls Lubertse. It is very special town. It is a place where a lot of tough guys living. Know that tough guys like hooligans and something like that. But anyway, I was walking in kurta and turban with a kirpan and all the Lubertse, and only good stories I had. No bad story at all. All the guys was really kind. The policemen's like very kind. So it was strange for me because I thought that I will have a lot of problems with all these clothes, but not any problems till this year. Maybe people are so tolerant here, I don't know, but I feel really comfortable all these years from 2013 till this day. Only good stories I had. Maybe should I stop on this?
Waheguru. That's good. Thank you very, very much. Gurminder, your turn.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Certainly very, very beautiful to hear from all of you and hearing all these different stories. My journey started about 45 years ago. As supernatural, I think, as all of us have gone through this experience of meeting Siri Singh Sahib. I was a teenager, had born, of course, in Singapore. My parents were certainly Punjabis and Sikhs from Malaysia. My mom from India. We certainly had heard about Siri Singh Sahib because both my mom, my grandmother came from the town from which Siri Singh Sahib was born in near Lahore, and we realized that we were from that same village, same area. We were certainly hearing a lot about Siri Singh Sahib from early 70s, and had no experience of or direct experience of meeting him or talking to him at that time. Although my grandparents, my grandmother and my mom remember that when they had to leave India to come to Malaysia in the 1930s, their journey from Lahore to Amritsar was someone took them. That someone later we realized was Siri Singh Sahib's father. And Siri Singh Sahib was, of course, very young back in those days in 1930s. But by the time they came to Malaysia and Singapore, World War II had happened. My mom got married. She came to Singapore. We were not in touch with India for almost 30, 40 years until early would say early 70s. My experience started such that I would go with my mom to Sikh temples, like we Punjabi do, and go out and every Sunday we are with the Guru. But our experience was not as strong in the sense that born of a Sikh family, being with the Guru, that in personal energy with a Sikh teacher wasn't there at all. And I remember that when I first felt like wanting to organize the Sikh youth in Singapore, this was 1975, I said, what do I do? Who do I go to? And I decided to bow down in front of the Guru and said, please show me the way. Please send me someone to understand what are the steps that I need to do to organize myself, organize the youth in our community. We were a group of teenage kids, boys and girls from the Punjabi community who have absolutely no idea what steps to take. And I remember that within 1 month, I received an envelope with beads of truth magazine with a small little note written there saying, please read this. Siri Singh Sahib wants you to read this. Written, signed, Nidhan Kaur. And second note from Siri Singh Sahib saying, a teacher will physically come and be with you soon, and your ardas to the Guru has already been heard. Now, Siri Singh Sahib was 10,000 miles away, and I had absolutely no idea how he could have written a note to me, not knowing him personally, not even knowing that this is what I asked for in my ardas, because I had not. This was very personal. I had not even discussed it with anyone. And here was a note directly to me, and he said, "You'll be fine. The teacher will be there." I kept getting beats of truth from then onwards, and in the first 6 months, we were all disorganized, would do things whatever we could within the Gurdwara. Mainly, none of us really knew how to do kirtan. None of us knew how to do ardas or any of the programs. The Granthi there was very close to my family. Always would help us. He was, of course, the learned person who was around us. But we still felt disconnected. And 6 months later, I saw these 3 or 4 people walk in with their musical instruments. They sat down, of course, bowed down to the Guru and sat down. And they were looking at us that would anybody be sitting up and doing kirtan? Since we did not know how to do kirtan, we were always looking around, whether the Granthi would do kirtan or some other more learned person would do kirtan. And on that day, Gurminder Singh Khalsa Ji from Malaysia, said, I'm here and I will do kirtan. He was the teacher that Siri Singh Sahib was talking about. And Siri Singh Sahib, for some reason or the other, some of these, I guess, spiritual ways and psychic ways had already communicated this, and we were blessed with a teacher, and a teacher who was blessed with a saint from Malaysia who had just passed away 2 or 3 years earlier. And I first started seeing his pictures of Sant Baba Son Singh and Siri Singh Sahib, they both looked alike, very much alike. And I'll share with that experience with you. And I realized that the Siri Singh Sahib and the Sikh teachers, when they become that high level spiritual masters, they become one. So they are able to all communicate. They can hear us. We think our das is never heard, but our das is heard by Guru and all his saints. I realized on that day something special is happening, and I started trying to find a note how I could write to Siri Singh Sahib. And I remember that I found one address, Espanola, PO Box, and I said, okay, that's the place I'm going to write. I said in my first message, thank you for the beats of truth. Thank you for sending a teacher. Thank you for this gift. And I received a letter very fast, I think within 2 or 3 weeks, on Siri Singh Sahib's letter here. Till today, I still keep that letter. And he said, great things are in our destiny. Great things are in your destiny for starting this Sikh youth organization. And we will meet soon. And my reply was, when? It so happened that it took another 6 years, another 5 or 6 years, 1981, 82, that I heard that Siri Singh Sahib had made trips to India, and I was wishing very, very much Siri Singh Sahib would come by Malaysia and Singapore. That year, 81, it did not happen, but in 83, I remember time is 5-6 years have passed by, and I have not heard much from Siri Singh Sahib, and very much would want to see him physically. That very week, I had not realized that he was going to be in Singapore. And there's a Sikh temple in Singapore called the Sri Guru Nanak Satsang Sabha, Katong Gurdwara, as we call it for short. And I go there in the morning, that morning, and the Granthi tells me that there is a big group that has come from America, and the only person I meet on that day in that morning is Dr. Saram Singh Khalsa, who is still in Beverly Hills. He was the doctor of Siri Singh Sahib. Siri Singh Sahib had gone through a heart surgery back in 1978. The reason why we didn't hear much from him once in a while. And Dr. Saram looked at me and he said, "You have been writing to us." And I looked at him and said, "How do you know?" He said, Siri Singh said, "There's a boy you will meet who and once you meet, you will know you will know that he is the one who has been writing to us." That evening, Siri Singh Sahib was sitting in Gurdwara when I came to bow down, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he said, with his eyes, just sit with me. And that was my first experience being with him. He didn't say much because he had to get on the stage and speak with the rest of the Sangha. And on the stage, he kept looking, and he said, First of all, I have come for the Sangat of Malaysia. But second of all, I have come for the Sangat that have wanted me to be here. The youths who have been yearning to hear from me. And I'm glad some of these youths are sitting right here in front of us. And that was the first experience, of meeting the man called Siri Singh Sahib. And I think we have all heard of that book. But for me, that was a living experience of meeting Siri Singh Sahib physically and spiritually. This was the first 6-7 years. I very much on that few days said to him, I want very much to come back with you. He said, you shall, and you can prepare yourself and meet me in Los Angeles. I was already very much part of the Sikh youth organization, very much part of Gurminder Singh Khalsa Ji's group here in Malaysia, in Singapore. And so I asked, since he was my teacher in this part of the world, Siri Singh Sahib have said, come see him in the US. His first reply to me was, your first commitment is to your teacher here. Your second commitment is to bring your new teacher to come and see me. And I said to Siri Singh Sahib, here in Singapore, there is a teacher that I would want you to very much meet. And he said, we have a few days, and we will go to Kuala Lumpur. We flew to Kuala Lumpur. At the airport, the Sangat was there. Committee members from all the Sikh and Gurdwaras were there. Khalsa Ji could not be seen physically, and he stood there and said, Khalsa Ji, I know you are somewhere here. If you are and you can hear me, please come forward. And Siri Singh Sahib said, I know you are here. And Khalsa Ji came very slowly, and Khalsa Ji was back then 35 years old, still shy of greater saints than him, not knowing that he himself was a saint. And Siri Singh Sahib put his arm around him and said to the rest of the Sangha, I am the yogi from the West, and here is the yogi from the East. He is the teacher here among us. He is as great as you think the gurus are. He is as great as the teacher that you can have. That was how Khalsa Ji and Siri Singh Sahib met. I had now two teachers, one yogi from the East and one yogi from the West. Both never from day one stopped me from learning from each other, from whether it was through yoga or through Sikhi. That was where the journey started. We ended up very much having the house of Guru Ramdas in Malaysia. For those of us who grew up here in Singapore, Malaysia, house of Guru Ramdas started by one family, and that one family was very much connected to Siri Singh Sahib, had all the Siri Singh Sahib books, the feats of Guru and everything else. And our experience compounded from there. Siri Singh Sahib, of course, made many trips between 83 and 91. He was not allowed to go back into India because of 1984 for almost 6-7 years. So making trips to Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand was where we would meet him. The next time I met him was in Espanola. I flew to the US to go to Panama, and on my way back in Los Angeles, I get a note, I am in Espanola, come. It was the 91 Khalsa camp were going on in Espanola. I took a flight from Los Angeles to Albuquerque, took a taxi, went directly to Hasinda Guru Ramdas, and as I am getting out of the taxi, Siri Singh Sahib drives his jeep, stops there and says, "Get in, we're going to the camp." And so I'm right there sitting with him behind on the jeep. Of course, we end up on the camp. He's on the stage, and the rest I would say is history, because my journey with him never ended. I decided to live in the U.S. For more than 20 plus years, coming back and forth. Siri Singh Sahib passed away in 2004. I had many trips with him, many journeys with him, many times been with him in Espanola. So the concept of about what was going to happen in the future, he one day said to me in '96, he said, there are going to be people who are going to betray me. There are going to be people who are going to betray us, the Sangha. But we are the Khalsa. We will go on. It is not me that is important. It's my teaching that is going to be important. And you who walk with me every day and have breakfast with me, come sit with me. We're going to start thinking about writing some books for the future, for the day when we're going to need the word of our Guru, not only my words. This is Siri Singh Sahib saying that to me. So these three books, while I'm writing the preface, and he's asking me to record this conversation, he keeps saying, he said, this betrayal is going to be huge. This betrayal is going to be deep. This betrayal is going to be hurt us. But we are going to get stronger and stronger because of this betrayal. We're going to find out who among us is going to remain strong. Who among us is going to take this mission into the future. So the idea of the book, Siri, Sat Guru, Siri Guru, and Shabd Guru started there while these conversations were happening. The concept of the book, the way of the Khalsa, he basically indicated we have yet to write the chapter of the Khalsa, because the chapter of the Khalsa is going to be worldwide. It's not going to be just going to be in the US. And the Khalsa has been tested before. It's going to be tested in the future, and it will constantly be tested. And since the Khalsa are tested to become this strong steel that must emerge out of this testing. Each of these betrayals, each of these events is going to certainly make us stronger. So that journey, that meeting with him, and that idea of starting with this book, all started with being close to Siri Singh Sahib. Now I still feel that he's always in my life after nearly 45 years. And I know that he is not only in my dreams, he's constantly in my life. And so my journey, being here in Malaysia, in Singapore, being in Espanola and Los Angeles for 20 plus years, and now back here in Malaysia, I've always felt he has been with me just as much as Gurminder Singh Khalsa Ji has always been in my life.
Waheguru. Thank you. Thank you. We can revisit that. We've got to get a little more time with Nidhan Kaur before she leaves us.
Yes. Thank
Okay?
you.
Waheguru. Thank you so much.
Nidhan.
Yeah, and Nidhan, I know a little bit in Chile. There's a lot of social ferment. We even in Canada we hear about the women. There's some YouTube videos. They're chanting. I forget what exactly, but they're chanting for no more oppression, no more macho. They want to find their voice. They want to find their power. Even there was a big international conference on the environment, which they said we can't do in Santiago anymore. So they moved it to Spain. There's too much upheaval. Tell us what's going on and how you're relating with that. No, we can't hear you.
Ok, ahora sí. Hace un año atrás, el 18 de octubre del año pasado, comenzó, a ver, espera un poquito, voy a apagar aquí. Ahí sí. Okay. Comenzó un gran movimiento social. Y ya sabes, la gente empezó a salir a la calle fuerte, grandes protestas, y estuvimos así muchos meses en que ya no podíamos salir y todos salimos a la calle. Fue muy fuerte, muy potente el movimiento. Y ese movimiento terminó ahora con el cambio votado por la gente de la Constitución, que era una Constitución muy arcaica. Y dentro de ese movimiento, el año pasado, un grupo de mujeres levantaron la voz súper fuerte para cambiar con el movimiento patriarcal que acá en Chile ha estado por muchos años muy fuerte, y en toda Latinoamérica en general. ¿Sí? Yo no me considero feminista, no quiero encasillarme así, pero sí estoy en la lucha de las mujeres, pero no desde la perspectiva como colectiva que hay hoy, sino desde el autoconocimiento. Creo que el empoderamiento de las mujeres viene así como nos enseñó el maestro, desde el autoconocimiento, no encontrando la identidad como una reacción a los hombres. Y ese es el discurso público de hoy que crea tanta enemistad entre los hombres y las mujeres en este momento y tiene a las mujeres muy reactivas, porque la identidad femenina hoy se entiende como una reacción a lo masculino y no como un proceso de autocreación. Y eso es lo que estamos haciendo, llevando a las mujeres a descubrirse en ellas mismas quiénes son a través de la meditación, de la práctica del Kundalini Yoga y de las enseñanzas. Ha sido todo un trabajo muy fuerte, especialmente porque especialmente en los gobiernos, porque las líderes de los gobiernos son muy feministas. Entonces, cualquier cosa que aparezca como poniendo a la mujer en un lugar sumiso, reaccionan tremendamente. Entonces, hemos tenido que hacer todo un trabajo para desprogramar la mente de las mujeres que rigen la política y darles otra perspectiva, que el empoderamiento no es solo ese empoderamiento económico, de rebelión, sino que el empoderamiento interior, que es el auténtico, y mostrarle que el verdadero empoderamiento de una mujer es el desarrollo de su intuición, de su capacidad de entenderse a sí misma y entender a través de la intuición. Ha sido todo un trabajo hacer eso. Eso. ¿Alguna? ¿Qué más quieres saber?
No, I mean, our time has come in so many ways, and we have different frontiers, many different artistic, political, social, technological, and so many different countries, so many different cultural facets. So I'm grateful that you're there and you're able to share your perspective. I share that perspective here in Canada. We cannot I'm a feminist too, you know, and I recognize we cannot be reactionary. You know, we have, you know, you are Adi Shakti, you know, it originates in you. And for you to think that you are a victim is way wrong. Way wrong. That's easy to misunderstand.
Changing. Todo está cambiando. Todo el pensamiento está cambiando. De un pensamiento más reactivo a todo este proceso que gran parte de la humanidad está teniendo de autoobservación y autoconocimiento. Todo está cambiando. También ahora yo he entendido y estoy enseñando el origen del patriarcado desde otra perspectiva, porque todo este movimiento reactivo al patriarcado no lo comprende desde una visión histórica muy limitada. Pero cuando entendemos los procesos humanos, por ejemplo, desde la perspectiva de los yugas, como un proceso de conciencia humana que va desde la dualidad a la unidad, ¿sí? y que el patriarcado fue un momento de separación de la conciencia, donde donde los hombres tuvieron que hacerse cargo de la sobrevivencia nuevamente del planeta, abre la mente muchísimo y no pone a las mujeres como víctimas. ¿Sí? Ahora no puedo decírtelo, es muy grande, pero lo estoy elaborando y lo voy a escribir en un libro pronto. Es otra perspectiva del patriarcado, no reactiva como la que tenemos hoy día, sino como un proceso orgánico, natural en la evolución humana, la evolución de la conciencia humana a través de los yugas. ¿Sí?
Waheguru.
Sí.
In many languages, we want that. In many languages. I think my perspective is that Yogi gave us two many blessings, but fundamental are Satanam. You know, I call it, in English, I call it intrinsic being. You know, to trust children, for example, because they are just so themselves, you know? And then we lose that. We become adulterated. I don't know if you have a Spanish equivalent. You know, we become adult, but also we're not authentic anymore. And so the Kundalini Yoga brings us back to that. So that's the one message. It makes us, because as an adult, we have to work to be a 3-year-old. We have to work. It's a lot of work. But the other message is the Adi Shakti message. And those two are very akin, because you have the most relationship with those 3-year-olds, you know? And if you have problems yourself, you're feeling a victim, that will affect the 3-year-old, and that will affect their whole life. But if you're feeling empowered, then that child will feel empowered. That child will feel whole. And that child will feel comfortable being 3 years old. Where a lot of 3-year-olds don't. They're feeling impotent. They're feeling useless. They're feeling subjugated. They're feeling victimized also. So these are two huge messages. And I'm very grateful that you're doing such a great job. Please bear us in mind, or think of us in other countries too. We need a strong message, a strong text.
Thank you. Yeah, it's now we created the foundation, but the model is also changing, like all around the world, because everything is really changing, and the structure was, now we are trying to make every country more independent, because it was a lot centered in Chile. Estuvo muy centrado en Chile. Y ahora lo vemos, cada país ya tiene su propio auto soberano, ¿me entiendes? Every country is having their
in
own.
every country in South America, even, never mind Russia, never mind Estonia or Canada, but even Bolivia, Ecuador, Peru, they have their own history and their own challenges and their own identity.
Así es, pero no es tan diferente.
What is that?
Que no es tan diferente. Uno cree que hay variaciones, pero el estatus de las mujeres ha sido el mismo en todas partes. Hay diferentes variaciones, pero no es tan diferente. En donde se necesita mucho, sí, es en China. Ahí tengo un gran trabajo. Ujú. En China. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Let's hear a little bit from Prabhujap and let's come back. I'm curious about China. We were having Angad Kar, she's going to speak, I think, in 2 weeks. But let's hear from you first. Prabhujap, tell us a little about your situation there, if you will, about feminism or anything. Talk to us. What's it like in Moscow?
Oh, I have my personal opinion that Russia is a country of strong women. And I think that is the reason that all the feminists, modern feminist ideas looks ridiculous in my country. Because, you know, I think that feminist movement starts in our country from the Soviet Union a lot of years ago. So we have women as judges, as policemen, and all the teachers and all the schools are women. So most of the people in Russia was grown by women only, without men at all. So most of the women are too strong, maybe, you know, they're like men sometimes. That's why the very popular problem that I have in my consultations, I mean, that women want to find their feminine energy. They want to go back to that feminine state of mind, you know? So all these modern movements like Me Too or something like that, most of the people didn't like. You know, we have, I think that we have special mentality in Russia. You know, Russia is a Putin land. So, you know, most of the people believe in, you know, strong state of mind, like we like weapons and all these things, you know. And I think that is the reason that explains why most of the Kundalini yoga people in Russia just doesn't care about the whole situation with Yogi Bhajan and the obligations. It was a surprise for me because I know all the situation, I know all the things. So when I start talking on my classes about it, I saw that most of the people just doesn't care. Some of them just tell me, so what was going on? I said, some women said that they was like, you know, with Yogi Ji, just like, you know, some relationship. And they said, so what? Is it a problem? Yeah, I don't want to know about it. So most of the people, I think, you know, I have, again, my personal opinion. If you want, I will give an example how it was in my state of mind. Because I met all these obligations in 2010 when I start to investigate the whole story about Yogi Bhajan and Kundalini Yoga. I found a lot of resources on internet with any types of obligations, with any types of information that Kundalini Yoga is a sect, that Kundalini Yoga is a cult. So of course, you know that guy, Gursan Singh, of course, you know him. He's a very bad guy, I think. I hate him all. So I met all his resources also. And as I remember, there was a site called Sikh Archives, maybe, sikharchives.org or something like that. So in 2010, there was a lot of bad information about Yogi Ji, like a lot of letters, a lot of, you know, confessions, something like that. Very, very, very bad content. And there was a lot of stories about sex relationship, of course. Some of them was about money, and some of them was about power, and some of them was about sex, traditionally. So I've read a lot of that letters. I've read a lot of information, and I remember that I asked myself at that day, okay, what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling, if all these stories are true, I asked myself, okay, even if it's true, what would I do? What my feelings are? And maybe because I am Russian, I don't know, my answer was really easy. I said, okay, even if it's true, I love Yogi Bhajan. I love all the things that she do. I love all the teachings. I doesn't care even if it's true, and I think that I hope that most of the people in Russia are in the same state of mind. I don't want to explain, is it good or is it bad, but the mentality of Russians and the Western people are totally different. All the history, it was different. You should know that. About all the Cold War and all the So I think for me, it is good because, as I said, most of the people just doesn't care. They love Yogi Bhajan, they love Kundalini Yoga. They don't want to know any stories about it. The problem is that some teachers believe all these stories, all the book, and they betrayed the teachings after that. But I think that it was only few teachers. I know him by their names, and I said to them, okay, that was your last day, guys. That was your last day. You will not teach Kundalini Yoga anymore. I give you my word. That was funny, actually. But most of them still continue love teachings and love Yogi Bhajan and do sadhana. And I think it is a good luck for Russian Sangat.
It's good luck. In what way would you say it's good luck?
Yeah.
Okay. My goodness. Well, Gurminder, you said Siri Singh Sahib told us we're having tests. This is one of the tests. Huh? Gurminder Singh? Okay. I don't think Gurminder Singh can hear us. Nidhan, you want to speak some more? We're going for another about 15 minutes, and then we're going to take a 5-minute break. Nidhan, you hearing me?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you say? I did not hear. What did you say?
Just talk some more. We've got about 15 minutes, and we're going to take a break. Tell us more about anything, your perspective from Chile.
From Chile.
Or from China. Oh, China. I remember we were going to talk about China. Talk about China. Tell us about China.
I want to share something different, okay? My mind came today, vino hoy día y es una experiencia que tuve muy, muy importante relacionado con este tema. Hace unos 15 años atrás, tuve una lección muy importante de Yogi Bhajan. Y estábamos saliendo de un curso de formación de instructores. Y cada uno se fue a su casa y a una niña que estaba en el curso, un tipo a una distancia, metros de su casa, un tipo la tomó y la violó. en la calle. Y yo le escribí al maestro diciéndole, maestro, a ver, guíeme cómo manejo esta situación. Y él me dijo que tenía que ir todos los días a la casa de ella a la hora de sadhana y tenía que hacer Sodarshan Chakrakriya con ella, yo con ella. Y por 40 días tuve que manejar, ir a su casa y acompañarla. Y él me escribió todos los días, Yogi Vaya, todos los días, y me escribió, ¿cómo está? El Sangha se está preocupando de ella. ¿Cómo es? Asegúrate que está bien, la estás cuidando todos los días. Y eso fue una lección para mí tan grande, de lo que significa realmente acompañar a los estudiantes, acompañar a las mujeres, acompañar. Fue una gran experiencia. Y siempre se quedó en mi corazón, de lo que realmente significa el trabajo que estamos haciendo. Eso quería compartir.
It's a universal story. I am curious though, was that in Chile or in New Mexico?
Where was it?
Yeah.
Chile, en Chile, sí.
Wow, wow, wow. And Siri Singh Sahib was aware of it.
He told me to
He
do.
told you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what's so amazing. Wow, wow, wow.
He was telling me, he told me, you go and you do sadhana with her every day. Okay? Go, drive to her home and do sadhana with her for 40 days. Don't leave her alone.
Right.
Don't leave her alone. And he said, and then he wrote me every day and asked me, how are you doing? Are you doing it? Next day again and again and again.
Why,
Guru? I was doing it. I was really taking care of her.
Why, Guru? And physically, Yogi never visited Chile. So he was there.
No. He said he always wanted.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't allow him to come. He was, no.
Yeah, but he was there.
He went to Brazil.
Yeah, but his sensitivity, his projection was there. Yeah, Waheguru. That's the important thing. Waheguru. Thank you for sharing. That's a very special story. Gurminder Singh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Would you like to say, we have about 10 minutes before our break. Would you like to say anything for 5-10 minutes?
Well, I'm right now here in Gurpuri Foundation. You will find that there's about 90 over children out there, 80, 90 children. Some just celebrating their birthdays. We do once a month a birthday for all the children here. None of these children certainly have met Siri Singh Sahib, and none of them have experienced Siri Singh Sahib. But the good thing is that through Siri Singh Sahib's existing videos, through having number of Zoom sessions in this last 6 months, we have had Guru Tej Singh from Singapore talk about his journey and experience with Siri Singh Sahib. This foundation itself, when Gani Sukhdev, who the trustee of this foundation, who decided to start this foundation, met Siri Singh Sahib in '98 here in Kuala Lumpur. He had spoken to him and said, I want very much to start this foundation. And Siri Singh Sahib said, you certainly have my blessing. And this foundation has been blessed by Siri Singh Sahib, by Gurminder Singh Khalsa Ji, and a whole series of other spiritual masters. Malaysia and Singapore was very special for Siri Singh Sahib. It was one of the only places outside of the Western world, where he came to a Punjabi community. He here he spoke both in Punjabi. His lectures were in Punjabi, but his discourses with us in English was in English, because we young ones wanted both. You know, we wanted to hear from him in Punjabi. We wanted to understand Gurmukhi, and we wanted to certainly understand things in English. And this journey with him uh, has been you'd say very close to our heart. Still very much closer to our heart here in Malaysia, in Gurpuri Foundation. I wish Geni Sukhdev was here, but he is right now in another place, and he would have loved to have been. You know, he's another very shy guy when it comes to video conferencing like this. But I have always tried to introduce him to as much of our Sangat everywhere around the world. And I hope we can have more of this, because it brings the spirit of Siri Singh Sahib into our lives. And for that, I am I'm very thankful.
Why, Guru? I was thinking if we all lived in the same town, we could have tea in the evening and share Yogi Bhajan stories, but we live so far away. But it is a miracle of technology. We can still share the stories and keep them alive, because they're being recorded so future generations can translate and share them and pass them along. If we don't share them, if we keep them inside, they die. We can't allow that.
These personal experiences, these personal conversations, this time that we have spent with him is unique. You know, people tend to forget. He said from the beginning that he's Bhajan Singh on one side, an ordinary person, and he certainly was never ordinary. As Yogi Bhajan, he was a teacher of discipline and awareness. And as Siri Singh said, he represented Guru Ram Das Ji. You know, we tend to forget when we use the word Siri Singh Sahib. He never called himself a master. He never called himself Siri Singh Sahib. He never called himself a Brahm Gyani, or yes, in Punjabi will say a elevated saint. He never called himself any of those things. Yet he was one of the more elevated souls on the planet. That even the Akal Takht, the Singh Sahibs from the Takht would come and meet with him. There has never been in history of the Sikhs that there have been two Siri Singh Sahib at the same time. One from Akal Takht and one Siri Singh Sahib that was representing the rest of the world. And Siri Singh Sahib was both. Right? He was anointed by Akal Takht, but there was a Siri Singh Sahib in Akal Takht that the Punjabi community and the Sikh community had interactions with. And then there was Siri Singh Sahib who interacted with the rest of the world. He was that conduit. Guru Ram Das Ji brought us together. Guru Ram Das Ji brought us into this mix of having now Russian Sikhs and South American Sikhs and even Sikhs from China. You know, we have now Sikhs from more countries in the world than ever before. This journey has just begun. This journey of being even tested with all the things that he has gone through is nothing new. You know, Sikhs have always been tested. The Gurus were tested. And every teacher that I know have been tested, inclusive of the one I grew up with here in Malaysia.
Waheguru.
Waheguru.
This
Thank
mission
you.
must.
Thank you.
mission
Prabhujap
must
Singh,
continue.
you want to take 5 minutes? We'll take a break.
Actually, I have only questions. You know?
Who you want to ask?
Yeah, because I want to understand. I like your ideas of these webinars and all the movement that you do in social network. But I want to understand what can we do all together with all this situation. You know what kind of situation I'm talking about? Because a lot of people in the society trying to destroy the teaching, I think. So I don't understand. There is a 70 people in this webinar, and I think it is good, but what can we do? Do you have any ideas?
Be authentic. Basically, organizations come, organizations go, ideas come, ideas go. Sometimes they're very fashionable, sometimes they're not. Stuff comes, the economy comes up, the economy goes down. Sometimes we have a pandemic, and the pandemic leaves. Weather comes, weather goes, seasons come. But if you can be constant, if you can be consistent in your sadhana, you can continue to be a conduit. I think it's the word Gurminder used, like a channel for whatever Guru Ramdas needs to be channeled. That's the way. And I don't pretend to know what Guru Ramdas has channeled for next year. I'm beyond that, but I am absolutely fastened with my sadhana. I was fastened with my sadhana from the beginning. It made sense. Discipline makes a lot of sense. It's not a new thing. It's not a Sikh thing. Discipline makes the master. But even more so when Yogi Ji gave me the job to write his biography, I thought, wow, this is a Brahmgyani, right? This is a man on a very high mountain. And so how do I describe that man? And I thought, well, the only possibility is in my own personal, humble way, is to aspire to be like that. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're at the bottom of the mountain, you're talking about the weather on the top of the mountain. It doesn't work. So that's my suggestion to everybody who really takes Kundalini Yoga seriously, takes the legacy of Yogi Bhajan seriously. Don't follow the teacher, follow the teachings, and really follow them. I mean, if he followed them 100%, follow them 1,000% as best you can. Don't be a fanatic, but with a lot of love. Even Guru Nanak, in his Bani, he said, I have no devotion. That's the attitude. You can always have more devotion. And if you feel you don't have a sadhana, pray for a sadhana. You don't feel you don't have devotion, pray for it. Pray for what you need, the passion you need to excel. And don't be discouraged. Yogi set a great example. Let's keep living to that example. People can throw their garbage on packages of Yogi Bhajan. They can take the pictures down, but don't let that affect you. We have, there's a word in Gurbani, darshan. Darshan? Darshan means a vision, right? And so in Catholicism and in many religious traditions, we say, well, I want to have a darshan. I want to have a darshan. The superficial translation, superficial explanation of darshan is you're going to see the Virgin Mary, you're going to see Guru Nanak, you're going to see the Buddha, you're going to see Guru Nanak. But the deeper understanding is to see the world through the Guru's eyes. So those are very special eyes. That's a very special mind. And it comes through sadhana. It comes through devotion, it comes through sadhana, it comes through relentless sadhana. It comes through going through all the tests that come and keeping up and keeping up and keeping up.
Waheguru.
Okay, I'm going to find, if I can, this little song from by Guru Das. Some of you might remember, from Guru Das Singh, I should say, and his wife, and Guru Das Kaur. Here it is. You can listen to that. Let's take a 5-minute break. Brothers and sisters,
Chain is his word, and they're bound for the young love, the ones of the good. It's like they pray, and we're all around the world. All around the world. Word of the word, all around. Brothers and sisters, all around the world, singing together, one voice to be heard, and our soul has awakened, and God is inside. We know each morning the word of grace lies all around the world. All around the world, singing together, a voice to be heard. All around. Golden temple in every heart, open to the world, by eternal is kept alive. His word begins to be heard, singing all around the world. All around the world, word of the begins to be heard. All around. Brothers and sisters, all around the world, the shape of the blue, the banners unfurled, and we're sailing together. The water's so blue, each heart a harbor, and we're destined to sailing all around the world. All around the world. Llevar, waters of mercy, all around the world. Saving all around the world.
Hi, Guru. Wait a few more minutes. We should have everybody back. Gurminder Singh Ji, is it really Friday there?
No, it's Saturday.
Saturday. I still have to understand these time zones. So it's Saturday evening, right?
Well, Toronto is about 12 hours difference. And,
It's the opposite side of the world. I'm just trying to figure this. But this is Saturday evening for you, correct?
Saturday evening.
Okay. Great. Okay, so welcome back. Nam Nidhan Kaur Ji, since your time is short, give us your anything you want to give us.
Como dijo Gurminder, estas enseñanzas que nos llevaron al gurú, que nos llevaron a encontrar la sabiduría, que nos ayudan a encontrar la sabiduría infinita dentro de nosotros, que nos ayudan a ser autoguiados y autoguiadas, nos dan la experiencia real y verdadera de nuestra invencibilidad. Y eso es lo que todo ser humano necesita, sentirse invencible. Y por eso yo voy a tener agradecimiento eterno, eterno a Yogi Ji. Y mi vida está para ayudar a la gente a que tenga esa experiencia. Me preguntaste antes por China. Yo he tenido la bendición de viajar los últimos 7 años a China y fue un inmenso, inmenso descubrimiento. Inmenso, porque como ellos estuvieron tanto tiempo encerrados, sin contacto con el mundo, a pesar de todo el comunismo que cambió la sociedad completamente como era antes, ellos mantienen un legado muy poderoso de toda su sabiduría ancestral. Y una de las cosas que yo he rescatado de China, absolutamente, es la integridad que tienen. Y siento que el mundo que vivimos hoy día necesita recuperar esa integridad, absolutamente. Y para ellos el Kundalini Yoga y las enseñanzas han sido como recuperar lo que ya era de ellos. Ha sido recuperar lo que ya era de ellos, porque ellos son la cultura, junto con India, más antigua que prevalece a través de este tiempo. Y ha sido maravilloso tener la experiencia de estar allá y también, por otro lado, la situación con las mujeres ha sido muy, muy desafiante. Allá hay mucho trabajo que hacer. Eso porque me habías preguntado de China anteriormente, pero siento que ellos tienen algo muy maravilloso que entregar al mundo, que viene con su cultura. A mí me gustaría compartir una experiencia que me marcó muchísimo mi vida y que tiene que ver con cómo yo comprendí que he sido Sikh muchas vidas. Y yo siempre lo cuento en mis clases esto, porque fue una experiencia maravillosa, que hacer el tantra blanco me llevó a hacer, a descubrir. Hace unos, no sé, 15 años atrás, después de un tantra blanco, unos días antes de terminar 40 días, me desperté con un dolor en el pecho gigante. Te voy a contar la historia. Y en mi sueño, había tenido un sueño muy fuerte, y en mi sueño me vi con un niño, una niña en mis brazos que estaba muerto, ¿sí? Y fue muy fuerte, me dolía el corazón, fue muy, muy fuerte. Y luego yo lo dejé ir, dije, bueno, alguna liberación subconsciente. Próximo año voy al Tantra de nuevo y vuelvo a Chile y nuevamente, los días previos a terminar 40 días post-Tantra, nuevamente tengo un sueño muy fuerte, pero esta vez me veo con con una niña muerta, no sé qué era, niño, niña, muerta en mis brazos, pero había muchas más personas que estaban en la misma situación. Y además vi que alguien me sacaba de una cárcel y era Yogi. Y justo me tocó en el Tantra hacer con él. Nada que ver, pero fue una hora que yo hice con Yogi. Y en mi sueño lo veo que él me saca de la cárcel. Y dije, ¿qué es esto? ¿Pero por qué? Siguiente año, de nuevo, la misma cosa. Y ese año fui con Gurdas a India por primera vez. Y Gurdas nos llevó al museo que estaba en el Templo Dorado. Y cuando llego al Templo Dorado, veo este cuadro gigante de las mujeres con los hijos muertos en los brazos. Y dije, eso es lo que yo vi. Eso es lo que yo vi. Y ahí empecé a averiguar. Yo no sabía nada, de nada. Nunca había escuchado la historia, nunca. Y empecé a averiguar de qué se trataba y supe todo lo que había pasado, que en ese momento, en un momento de que habían encarcelado a las mujeres en las Ore, y que los mogoles habían mandado a matar a los 300 niños y se los colgaron en los brazos a las madres. Ahí entendí y fue tremendamente fuerte porque también entendí mi trabajo con las mujeres hoy, por todo lo que las mujeres tuvieron que pasar ahí también. Todo me cuadró. Eso. No. Y eso me mostró también, caminando por las calles de Amritsar, todo se me mostró así clarito. Waheguru. Esa ha sido una de las experiencias más maravillosas de mi vida.
Waheguru.
Así que venimos de muchas experiencias juntos. Y una de las cosas que he aprendido es que cada vez que tú tienes que sanar algo, aprender algo, el alma, la sabiduría infinita dentro tuyo te guía y te muestra todo. Te va mostrando todo lo que tienes que saber, cada paso que vas dando. Waheguru. Eso lo digo para que todos se inspiren, todos los que están escuchando se inspiren y confíen en esa guía interna, confíen en sus experiencias, en lo que el gurú les va mostrando, porque de eso se trata, de ir entendiendo el puzzle de nuestra vida, de nuestro sufrimiento, e ir comprendiendo de dónde viene y cómo sanarlo. Todo se va mostrando para que nos vayamos liberando del dolor ancestral.
Yeah. You know, the vision Siri Singh Sahib gave us is even the Sikh Ardas, we say before Guru Nanak, Pritam Bhagavati Samarika, or after first meditating on the Adi Shakti, it means that the feminine power. And it is huge. And to recognize also that when the culture is out of balance, the women suffer disproportionately. Physically, they suffer in their body, they suffer in so many ways. They suffer, never mind physical abuse only, but in so many ways, the culture, the economy, the politics will subjugate, will victimize, will try to victimize and to diminish the woman and her confidence. Something I can, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but I want to share some about what you are saying. You know what Yogi Bhajan, he also said that in the end of let me remember, like Satya Yuga, in the end of Satya Yuga, in the descending Satya Yuga, the women, there was a matriarchy, you know, and the women overused the power. Do you know that? He said that. He said, so actually everything is balanced. You know what? He said that. He exactly said women overuse the power in the end of that period. So everything, you know, it's like the moon, full moon, new moon, everything in our lives through all our incarnations. We are the thieves, we are the criminals, and then we are the angels. It's the whole process. So,
the relationship, the gender relationship needs to be in balance.
And the situation of women really is a balance now of previous times. You know what I mean? Everything works like that. Todo funciona así. And now we have to understand who we are and what is our power, our true power, and not feeling victims, because that's not reality. Never has been.
You know, personally, I confess I'm a troublemaker. I make trouble in lots of ways.
I
love it. We're making trouble right now. But what I share particularly is that one place of imbalance in the Sikh culture as it exists today is if you go to Gurdwara, I mean, we can go a lot of places. Last time we talked about Krishna Kaur, she broke a taboo that women cannot sing in the Golden Temple. That's one whole other thing. But if you go to Gurdwara, and if the Gurdwara has any pictures, like Gurminder Singh Ji, he has a picture behind him of Guru Gobind Singh, which is a very nice picture. But you will not, chances are 99.9%, you will not find a picture of a Sikh woman sing.
I know.
Maybe my Bago, maybe. But we're changing that, because here's the trouble I'm making. Some of you might know Siri Singh Sahib Ji. She made the artwork for the beautiful biography. Yeah, I gave her a job, and she's going to do it starting in the new year. She's going to make a picture of the mothers of all the gurus, all the mothers of all the gurus, and it's going to be beautiful.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You wrote a book.
Guru's Grace, Yogi Ji gave me the job. I wrote 6 books.
Yeah.
Yeah, one book, Yogi Ji gave me the job to write his biography. So that's the one book, and that's Siri Singh Sahib Ji, originally from Italy. She did the artwork, and now she's going to do this job.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, Sri Kartar will be in Argentina soon. I think she had gone to Italy. I've known her since in the early 90s. She went back to Italy to be with her mom. But we have a very strong community in Argentina, so she will be in Argentina soon, I guess, in the next month or so.
Why, Guru?
In Argentina.
She's doing Gatka course, I think, right? Gatka?
Yes, she's doing Gatka in Argentina.
Fantastic.
Always been involved in Gatka.
Good.
And art.
Good. Well, yeah. Excellent. Very good. Prabhujap, any more words? Any more questions?
Yeah. Same questions I have all the time. Because in my personal opinion,
Wi-Fi was going up and down. So.
in my personal opinion, we can make a traditional mistake that all kind people do. Because you said something like, we need to continue just kind guys, good teachers and good students. But you know, that bad guys, they do a lot of work. They do a lot of things to destroy all the teachings. So what about jihad? Maybe we need to start a jihad. What do you think?
Well, everybody knows, even the really deep spiritual Muslims, they know the jihad, the first jihad is within. We have another word for it, we call it sadhana. So jihad is a kind of a purification. I mean, there is a word in the Sikh vocabulary, dharm yudh. You make a war to protect your faith, but I think the best offense is a good defense. Make yourself very strong. Make yourself like a coconut. Coconut is very sweet inside, very tough on the outside, has 3 eyes. I was thinking, in relation to your question earlier, Gurminder Singh told us a beautiful story about the Brahmgyanis, the great Sikhs, Baba Sohan Singh, I think it was, and Yogi Bhajan, and how they're of one mind. Yeah, they're of one mind, and this is what it is. If you are basically, I mean, I've studied a little bit Che Guevara too. He's a good revolutionary. And he said, the secret to a good revolutionary, and he wasn't so successful in Bolivia, but he was great in Cuba. I mean, they won in Cuba, and they're still holding up. He said, the secret in a guerrilla army is your discipline has to be better than the discipline of the people who are the people who you are against. Your discipline has to be better. And so your morale, Yogi talked a lot about morale. And Sikhs have such a long history of being outgunned, out-resourced, but still winning. They won against the British, they won against the Mughals, they won against the Afghans. And even today they're struggling. But, if your sadhana is strong, nothing can beat you. Nothing. That's the invincible spirit Nidhan Kaur was talking about. You need to have that. And then let those people do whatever they want. They can tear down Yogi Bhajan's pictures. They can try to destroy you. They can attack you personally. It just makes us stronger. You talked about power, sex, and money. Those are the 3 big things every yogi comes up against, right? But the 3 pillars of yoga, as Patanjali said, the first one is tapasya. Tapasya is hardship. Then comes svajaya. Then comes self-understanding. Then comes ishvara pranadana, which means seva. Yeah, but the first thing is the hardship. The hardship builds character. And just don't be a fanatic about hardship. Also practice your self-understanding, your self-reflection, and go out and serve people. So I love the tapasya. Yogiji loves the tapasya. He said he came to Canada, and when we have our shower, he has his shower in the morning. He said, wow, it's great. In Canada, we have great showers. In Los Angeles, they didn't have such cold showers. He loved Canadian. He would love a Siberian cold shower, It's beautiful. It's tapasya. It makes you stronger. No problemo. They can't kill you, I mean,
Well,
it makes us stronger.
I'm not worried about myself. I'm not worried about my sadhana and my path. But what will we do when they took off all the portraits from the main Gurudwara in Hispaniola? What we will do if they will change all the articles in Wikipedia, for example? What will we do?
Well, there's a problem with them changing Wikipedia because I'm the man who writes the Wikipedia biography. That's the problem. They're too lazy to do that. They never bothered. There's no money in it. So I got that job a long time ago. I do that. But I understand, basically you have to be Yogi Bhajan. Gurminder's going to be Yogi Bhajan. Nidhan's going to be Yogi Bhajan. We're all going to be Yogi Bhajan. And that way they can't kill us, Just keep popping up.
Yes, can I say something? Prabhujap, share your strength with everybody. That will keep you up. That will give you everything.
Yeah. Yogaji also said, everybody has about 12 pounds of stool. You know stool? It means shit inside. Everybody has, but you don't share that with people. You share your strength. That's what you do. Okay, makes sense? Nidhan, I'm going to give you the last 5 minutes before you have to run away.
No, yeah, I arrange. I can stay a little bit more. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Okay, great.
Already.
Anyway, open. The floor is open. Anybody want to share anything? Share your strength.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, I mean, I was thinking if we all practice our sadhana, we're going to have one consciousness, whether we're in Moscow, even whether maybe somebody doesn't speak English at all, But if they do a sadhana, their consciousness will be the same as everybody, every other Guru Sikh, every Guru Sikh yogi. We'll have the same consciousness,
Yes.
And the other thing I suggest we do, that's going inside, is network. Find the strength. I mean, it is so inspiring to me, and I think everybody who's here live and everybody who's going to listen to the recording will be so inspired to see that here we are, even those people, we have a history too. I mean, everybody has I know in Chile there's a history. I know I met with Sver Yunus, was his last name.
Alfredo.
Yeah, Alfredo. He ran away from Chile when the CIA threw over your government, right? So we all have a history of the bad side of America, right? And we all say we want to be independent from that. We need to be strong. So there's a good side and there's a bad side to everything. And so this technology we're using, a lot of it is American. This technology for this webinar. Zoom is an American company, I think. But we're also, I mean, one reason we're having the webinar is because there's the dark side in the American culture. And we need to, great, Nidhan Kaur is talking about developing autonomy from Santiago in South America. We need to have autonomy, I think, also from Espanol. That will be our sentimental, I was arguing with somebody a few months ago, that will be our sentimental home. But if the leadership there becomes corrupted, let's suppose maybe it becomes corrupted, then we have to find our Espanola inside, the Ramdas Puri inside. Ramdas Puri is there too. Golden Temple is there too. Every holy place is there. We cannot let the Americans dominate us wherever we are. Neither the Chileans, nobody dominates us. Neither the Russians, not even the Malaysians. We won't let them dominate. Forget about the Canadians. Make sense?
My apologies. So I'm having my dinner while I'm hearing all of you.
It's dinner time in Malaysia. Go ahead. Does it make sense? And go ahead, please.
Can I ask one more question about the situation for you?
Please.
Can you explain me the motivation of the organization government? I can explain motivation of Premka, for example. I can understand this, but I don't understand the motivation of the government, of the 3HO, of the Kundalini Institute and all these guys, what they want, why they are in this, I don't understand. They should be interested in the teachings, because it's about money and it's about power, but they destroy it. I don't understand what for. What do you think about it?
I had invited Omkar Kaur, who did the research with Gurmender Singh. I invited both of them, who wrote a very articulate and detailed rebuttal to the Olive Branch report. But they, God bless Gurmender Singh. He's like 80. He's very old. So really we should leave him alone, let him be retired. But Omkar is very shy. Her husband spoke with us last week, which is good. So they're the best people, but my understanding, my limited understanding. By the way, if somebody is asking, can people ask questions? Please, in the chat, ask your questions, and our interpreter will check there if it's in Spanish, and she'll bring to our attention. But come back to the subject. my understanding is that from what I've heard, there are a lot of different elements to this. It's like life, you know, it's complicated. And you have different people with different blind sides, things they don't see, people with different agendas. Some people have very good intentions, but they're just not aware of some things. For example, I have a background in trauma therapy and in psychology of trauma. There is Kundalini Yoga for that. I was very lucky. I have a very ambitious student. She wrote 3 academic papers on that. So I worked with her. So I have this understanding. I understand what the traumatized mind is like. And so if you have a traumatized person who makes accusations about anybody, first you comfort them, you support them, you listen to them if they want to be listened to. You give them every support. You don't tell them they're crazy. You don't tell them shut up. You give them support. You acknowledge them. You acknowledge their pain. All right. So I know that, and I also know that the pain is very real. But the mind can be warped. The mind can be twisted. Supposing you have a history of trauma. Maybe your family was very abusive in different ways. Maybe there was sexual trauma in your life. If your mind becomes distorted, and so it's not impossible that you will point your finger at someone who actually is innocent. In some respect, they resemble the person or the situation that traumatized you, but actually the person is innocent. And so that's why we have a judicial system and we have a medical system. So if somebody experiences trauma, the medical system is there to help them to become whole again. And then we have a judicial system if there is a need to attribute blame, responsibility, recompense, you know, some compensation. So, but they're very different systems. They're very different systems. And so unfortunately, the people at KRI, they're taking the olive branch report, which was not substantiated, which was not verified, which was just an outpouring of accusations. Even the people who were anonymous that made those accusations, and they are saying, some of them are saying, okay, so we have a judicial report. We have a finding of guilt, and then we're going to move forward based on Yogi Bhajan is guilty, and so our policies are going to be based on that. Whereas this report doesn't establish anything like that at all. They don't understand that. I think there is some people may have agendas that go along with this. They never liked Yogi Bhajan to begin with. Maybe they have a strong father phobia. Maybe they want to go like the mindfulness meditation people and make this very secular. Maybe they think it's going to sell better. You don't have a Sikh on the top or even a male figure at the top. You know, so those are a bunch of different agendas. But there is an election happening, and I mean, some people quit out of disgust. I know that Gurmender Singh is still on that board. My sense is that he's a very noble, devoted Sikh, and that it's a very difficult position for him to be in. But anyway, there are empty positions now. 4 people have quit, 4 empty seats, and there's going to be a new election. People, you know, this struggle is going to go on. People are going to run for election. People are going to be voted for, voted against. It's an ongoing thing, but that shouldn't deter you. I've lived in Toronto where I was the only person that really liked sadhana. We had the head of our ashram was saying sadhana is bad, but fanatics do sadhana, and premka is great. And that was in the 1980s. So, you know, I'm still here. A lot of those people left.
You know,
I think,
yeah,
you know,
please.
Prabhujap, one of the things we need to realize is that, you know, people will go through all their experiences, all their traumas, all their neuroses. The aspect is that everyone is coming from their old worldview. They need to heal, and that aspect of healing is what we are experiencing right now. And there's certainly no need for us to point out or point fingers at each other. This is a collective experience that we go through. You know, I indicated a few days ago to Guru Fatha in my personal note to him that what we are experiencing is much greater than the counterculture of the 1960s, from which a lot of the hippies and others became Sikhs and you know became students of Siri Singh Sahib. We are now experiencing that kind of shift again, another counterculture movement that is not, you would say, agreeing with power, with not agreeing with the, you would say, a system. They they want to challenge everything, and I think they are certainly open to their opinions. We collectively should allow those things to happen. We and those of us who can pray and meditate and collectively raise the consciousness of everyone in our community and the rest of the world, because the rest of the world also is going through a lot of shift and challenges. That's where we are. Our strength as Sikhs was to come to this point where we take the mission forward. We become the teachers. We lead this community of ours. We lead humanity out of this. What we experiencing within our community is what the whole planet is experiencing. So the challenge to us is: are we going to be part of the crisis, or are we going to be part of the consciousness that we're going to elevate people above this crisis, beyond this crisis, into the point where we start realizing that the Khalsa consciousness is about bringing humanity, not only us, not only we as Sikhs, but all of humanity to a whole new level of thinking. This, you know, this experience of crisis, challenge, acquisition is just one way of strengthening us. Either we we become part of it, or we lead these people out of it into another, you'd say, higher consciousness, and that's our job. And wherever we are in the world, that is what Siri Singh Sahib meant by the way of the Khalsa. The Khalsa is yet to emerge. The Khalsa is yet to serve. We have only yet served ourselves, our wish to be in higher consciousness. But now the time has come to elevate others. Just like Siri Singh Sahib has elevated us, now the time is for us to elevate others around us. In the next few years, you're going to see a lot of turmoil. Maybe the turmoil is just coming around the corner because of the U.S. election and the turmoil that it is showing. But there's so many other turmoils and crises coming up in the next decade, and that is where we are. We are at the beginning of a moment of a cultural shift, a crisis in the midst. We have gone through many crises before. We have emerged much stronger, and we will certainly emerge much stronger again.
There's a story from the time that the Nidhan Kaur Ji is talking about. In Punjabi, there's a word galugara. I don't know if I say it right.
Galugara.
Yeah, it means a Holocaust. And you know, Sikhs had, depending on how you count, maybe 3 Holocausts, 4 Holocausts, not just one Holocaust. And one of those Holocausts in the 1700s, the Afghans, they were attacking the Sikhs. And the Sikhs, they did their best. The warriors, the men, they got on the outside of all the women, the children, the elderly, with their horses and with their weapons, and they defended as best they could. And this group, they moved, they needed water, so they were moving across the desert going for water. But they were much outnumbered, and it was a massacre. Tens of thousands died. And afterwards, one person asked one of the warriors, well, how do you feel? What do you think? And then the warrior said, I feel great. Because, you know, this was a culling. The word cull. Cull, it means when you have a flock of animals, you have a herd of animals, you get rid of the weakest ones, so the gene pool becomes stronger. This is the culling. Now the strong are here and we're much stronger. There's less of us, but we're stronger. So he rejoiced. You should learn the Nihang psychology, the Nihang psychology. My son, who's, you know, not just down the street from you, outside of Moscow, he speaks Punjabi, and which, by the way, is a hukum. It's a directive Yogi Bhajan gave all of us. And if we did that, we could have an international language. We could all speak together. We're not there yet. But the Nihangs, they're a special group of the Sikhs. They're the warriors. They're the ones that come together. There's a special holiday. I was there in March, and they do their martial arts, and they ride on elephants, and they ride on horses, and this is their tradition. But they also have a very special psychological language, and you know, they borrow a lot from Guru Gobind Singh. So Guru Gobind Singh said, "I will make one Khalsa to face 100,000. Sava lakh ek larong." So if there is one Nihang, and you ask, sometimes people ask me, how many children do I have? And I say, Sava lakh. I have that many children. Normally you would say I have one son. But in the Nihang language, we say I have Sava lakh. It means I have 125,000 sons. That's the Nihang psychology. Just feeling in high spirits. Nothing bring you down. You know, there's I think an onion, a slice of onion, they call it a slice of silver. And they have a lot of different things they use. They take things, little things, and make them great. It's a psychology. That's how they survived in the desert, in the swamp, in the jungle, totally outgunned. But they had their charikala. They had their discipline, and they had their psychology. Nothing could bring their consciousness down. It's a beautiful thing.
Now you speak more in a jihad way.
Well, yeah, we need that jihad consciousness that we're at war. I know the Russian history. You know, my father came to visit Russia in a very bad way. You know, he came and visited in 1940. You know what I mean? He came from Germany, yeah? But you know what? He came back and he got a record, and I still remember, of the Soviet Army Choir. Because you guys had so much charikala in that army, in that choir, that he brought that home. And I still listen to it. I love it. That beautiful music of the Soviet Union, of the Russian, of the high spirit. And we know that, you know, it was very hard in Russia in 1940, 41, 42. But it was the Russian spirit, the spirit of Mother Russia, that brought people together, and they pushed until they got to Berlin. You need that now. We need that. All of us need that. Wow, we have some of the Khalsa children with Gurminder Singh.
I wanted you to introduce.
Why Guru Ji Ka Khalsa? Why Guru Ji Ki Fateh? So great to see you.
These are the kids who are here in the foundation. They are some of the girls. We have,
Gurminder Singh Ji, Gurminder
Thank you.
Singh, can I make you a correction? They're not
Yes.
kids, they are cubs. Cubs. Little lions, we call them cubs. Little goats, we call them kids. They are
Well,
cubs.
absolutely. These girls have all grown up here, most of them, and the interaction with the rest of the world is limited in the sense that at the moment, because of COVID-19, they have been just in one place. But I thought, you know, here is an opportunity for you all to meet these girls and for them to meet all of you.
Right.
This has been an experience of having this place for 20 plus years. Siri Singh have loved this idea of a Gurpuri Foundation, back in '98, even early 2000, when he was coming back from India after his kidney surgery. He spent his last event here in a hotel. Uh, anyway, I'm going to let you have a little interaction if you all want to interact for one or 2 minutes with the girls.
Sure. Russia is here, Chile is here, Canada is here. What would you like to say to us? Anybody?
They can
Punjabi bolo, Angrezi bolo, koi nahi.
Yes, go ahead. They want to talk to you.
Bolo, bolo.
Bolo ji.
Hello, Panjabi ji. My name is Nidhan Kaur of Chile.
ठीक है.
And you?
My name is Nidhan Kaur.
Waheguru.
My name is Nidhan Kaur. I am Nidhan Kaur. I am Servir Kaur.
Great. I am Guru Fatha Singh. Everybody introduce. Who's who?
मेरा नाम निदान कौर.
Oh, hi.
Nidhan. Prabhujap from Russia.
Prabhujap Singh, say Waheguru.
Waheguru.
Our great translator, certainly.
Nidhan Kaur, I don't know if she can say anything. She can wave her hand. You see?
Yes, yes.
She's in Peru. You know where Peru is? You know where Peru is? Peru?
Peru is in South America.
Yeah, and the other lady, Nidhan Kaur, is also from South America. This is the global Sangha. You are in your COVID isolation. I am too, but we're reaching out. It's an international Sangha. International Sangha hai. Koi deshan. Rus desh, Canada desh, Peru desh, Chile desh.
Canada to, Russia to, South America to, और किधर सारी दुनिया तो इतने है.
हाँ. अंग्रेजी बोलते? कुछ?
कुछ बोलो जी, अंग्रेजी.
पंजाबी बोलो, कोई नहीं.
पंजाबी.
कोई गलबात?
How are you?
I am great. How is Nidhan Kaur?
What, are your daughters, Gurminder? All of them? No?
They are our god daughters and nieces in the foundation.
I see.
Here in our foundation, everyone is from different parts of Malaysia, but we have always treated them as our own. They are our goddaughters and our god nieces. There are only a few of them that you see here. We got almost 40 girls and almost 40 boys of all ages, from 5 years old all the way to 21 years old.
Waheguru. Do you have a chance to do Kundalini Yoga? Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. What's the best part? What's the best part of Kundalini Yoga?
When you all did sadhana in the camp, what did you like about it?
Connecting with God, learning how to control yourself.
Why? That's a good lesson.
We have Rajveer Singh here, who is part of the Khalsa Council. Rajveer is from Malaysia too.
Hmm.
Rajveer and number of other people have certainly been teaching yoga here.
Wow.
In our camps, we do sadhana, we do an hour of yoga, and then we do a whole day of learning new things.
Sounds great. Sounds
And
great.
every month.
Every month?
Every month.
Wow, that's good. In Canada, we just have Gurmat camp once in a year. That's all. So every month is great.
We thought that Gurmat camp is one area, but having camps about so many other subjects, we needed to do the camps every month. And I'm certainly the camp director. Our camp, our Gurpuri patron and founder is not here, but the children, we live here with the children every day.
Why good?
Every day we have 100 screaming kids who want food. Food is a big challenge with these kids, but they're still lovely.
Why good?
Thank you, Uncle Ji.
Why good?
Anyway, I thought it'll be nice for you all to interact with some of the kids here.
Thank you for sharing your Sangat over there. Nice to meet you all. Waheguru Khalsa. Waheguru Fatha.
Take care.
Wow, great work. So we might, it's another word is it's kind of an orphanage, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So if we didn't understand, that's what it is. They're all Guru's daughters, Guru's sons.
They're all Guru's children. They all very much, have the energy of Siri Singh Sahib is always here in this foundation. We celebrate Siri Singh Sahib's birthday on August 26th. The children are blessed.
I'm impressed you can do camp every month because I used to be invited to the Gurmat camps. You know, I'm a troublemaker. They don't invite me anymore. But I used to go to the Gurdwaras and give talks and go to the camps. And, you know, I was a curiosity. You know, I'm like the Sikh from Mars. You know, I go there and the children find me interesting. But I used to always criticize them, saying, you know, once a year is not enough for a Gurmat camp. It works out. It's a very small percentage of their life, but you can do it every month. It's a great thing.
Well, these children come from a lot of emotional background. Some have lost their parents. Some have lost their parents from divorce and breakups and other aspects. So we felt that, you know, the Gurmat camp alone once a year is not good enough.
No.
I'm a trained neuroscientist in behavioral science, and bringing Siri Singh Sahib's teaching into all of this, bringing Guru's teaching into all of this. We really need to use those tools, and I'm using the reason why I'm bringing this up is as we use the tools that the Guru has given us, Siri Singh Sahib has given us. In the Sikh community, in the Punjabi community, we didn't used to have psychiatrists and psychologists. Our Guru was our psychiatrist and our psychologist, always. And there's so much from a scientific, behavioral, psychological, psychiatry standpoint that Sri Guru Granth Sahib has to impart to us. We tend to think of Sri Guru Granth Sahib only as our living guru, but he's our psychiatrist, our psychologist, our father, our spiritual master. He's everything, right? And we're living on a daily basis, all of us. And I know I'm living here in the foundation, and I see this experience of these kids who came not even able to speak Punjabi. We live in Malaysia where the local language is taught in the schools, not even English. So these kids would, when they came here, they were not able to speak Punjabi. They did not know what Simran was. They did not know what yoga was. They did not know what sadhana was. And today, the up and coming kids who is going to bring the technology that even Siri Singh Sahib has taught us. I certainly have this book, this sadhana book here, and we have all the sadhana books, the first level, second level, third level, all the books of Siri Singh Sahib here, besides all the others that we have in the community.
Vaheguru.
Gurminder, I agree with you. Voy a hablar en español. Estoy totalmente de acuerdo contigo en que las enseñanzas son la mejor sanación para las personas. Y también me recuerda y quiero compartir, contarles que hace unos años atrás, nosotros hace 11 años que estamos apoyando a mujeres que sufrieron violencia en sus hogares, violencia intrafamiliar. Y ellas han estado practicando Kundalini Yoga y las enseñanzas por muchos años. Y luego de hace unos 5 años, nosotros hemos estado becando a esas mujeres y han tomado el teacher training, se han introducido las enseñanzas, han comenzado a practicar. Ellas son de lugares con poco acceso económico y con situaciones familiares dolorosas. Y después de 6 años, ahora ellas son líderes de sus lugares, de sus barrios. Se han convertido en líderes y están a un nivel de amor propio, de autoestima enorme. Ha sido realmente la mejor prueba de cómo Kundalini Yoga funciona. Porque los programas que tienen hacia las mujeres a nivel gubernamental realmente trabajan a un nivel muy superficial y no sanan a la mujer verdaderamente. Pero con esta experiencia que hemos tenido, ya hemos formado, no sé, 15, 20 en Chile y otras tantas en otros países que ahora son profesoras de Kundalini Yoga. Y ellas mismas están guiando a otras mujeres ahora. Entonces, ha sido maravilloso cómo el ciclo se cerró en su propio liderazgo. Ajá.
Lovely. The teachings of Siri Singh Sahib is not only for the Sikhs; it's for all of humanity.
Yes.
That is what Guru Ramdas Ji and our gurus always wanted. And as you teach all these things, sadhana and Kundalini Yoga and gurus stories and sakis, people will realize this is a spiritual movement unlike any other, where it doesn't matter whether you come from a Jewish background, a Christian background, a Russian background, whichever background. This is something what the gurus has given us. Is there is something for everyone in this.
Vaheguru. And you're in a very special place. Malaysia is a very special place. And Yogi gave us some very special challenges, challenges of his own that now we inherit. And one is to go to, say, the villages in Chile or Bolivia or Russia, and to bring this universal methodology to people who were not aware of it. Part of it is also, it's something like going to China with a long spiritual tradition, but it's more profound. It's going to India, going to Punjab, where the thinking is different, where there's a bias against, not only against women singing in the Golden Temple, but also there's a bias against yoga. And so you're in a very special place. You're quite close to India. You're able to do things that I don't think you could do in India. We were talking last week, we had Amrit Singh, who's a very gifted sculptor. And he was making sculptures of the gurus, apparently. And oh my gosh, there was a tankaya, there was a order from the Akal Takat Sahib that he stopped making sculptures. So there's some great work that we can do outside of India until India matures, I have to say, spiritually, not religiously. Religiously, they have all the organizations and all the stuff going on. They have all the holy places. But spiritually, the mentality comes in India so they can start to adopt those things, because they're not there yet. You agree?
Well, unfortunately, in Punjab, and I use the word unfortunate in the sense we have always been surrounded by larger communities. You know, well, whether the Mughal emperors were around, it was Islam. Right now, with the Modi government, there's Hinduism. Sikhi hasn't, Sikhs in India have not experienced true way of living the Sikh way. They've always been, there's always been challenges that they had to face. But as you know, Punjab is the land of the Gurus. And in the land of the Gurus represent only 2% of the population of India. And yet it is far more powerful in terms of its psyche. It has served India well. It has served many other communities well. And we as Sikhs now are all over the world. And wherever we are, our instinct is to be a community, to form a community, even with people who are new to us. And that is our legacy. You know, as you know, citizens have always said, we are the children of destiny. And our destiny is now. When we start teaching, we start speaking the words of Siri Singh Sahib, speaking the words of the Guru. We are sharing that energy of the Guru in places, in places around the world, in villages around the world that has never heard what what a Vaheguru means, or what Japji Sahib means, or what sadhana means. And when people start experiencing that, the real truth of who we are in this world as the real human beings starts emerging. That is the experience that we are now trying to bring around the world, and sometimes by chance and sometimes by choice. Chance because we end up with, in front of crisis in our countries, wherever we are, and we start serving people. I'll give a short example of Hurricane Katrina hitting uh, New Orleans in 2004. Siri Singh Sahib had passed away. No, Siri Singh Sahib was hadn't passed away. He was in Espanola, and I remember him saying that, "Wow, there's a huge storm coming, and there's going to be a need for help." We got a call uh, around August 23rd, 2004, that the Sikh temple in New Orleans was underwater. Sri Guru Granth Sahib is underwater, and we need divers to bring Sri Guru Granth Sahib out from this Gurdwara in New Orleans. With Siri Singh Sahib's help, we got a marine helicopter from San Diego. The helicopter pilot was a woman pilot, a Sikh. The divers were Sikhs from the U.S. Marines. And as we got closer to New Orleans, we saw many people on the roof, and as we came closer to where the Sikh temple was, we saw langar being served on the roof by Sikhs in the middle of a flood, and other people coming in boats, whatever they could come over from other houses. Everybody around in that area, everybody is on their roof. But Guru's langar was getting served.
Right.
And I asked them, I said, you were the ones who asked for help. He said, well, we knew help was coming, so we started helping others.
That's beautiful. That's Chardi Kala. That's
Yes.
Chardi Kala. You can always serve. Yeah. I think.
And these are the experiences we will have as we go along.
Mhm. Yeah. The ironic thing is that, in my view, is that it's for a long time it's been a closed system. You know, for about 200 years, it's been the Punjabi society has been closed. But Yogaji has just created this open door now, and that is the amazing thing. I find it interesting. You know, yoga is very popular in India now, after it became popular outside of India. When the Indians saw that the Americans were doing yoga, that what's wrong with us? You know, I think Sikhi is going to be the same way. As they find more Russians are doing it, and Peruvians are doing it, and people in Rwanda are doing it, they're going to say, wow, what's wrong with us? And they're going to pick up more of Siri Singh Sahib Ji's teachings, which are still quite radical, you know, quite radical, quite out of the box. And not everybody's ready to accept them. But I think as they see that they work, and we start having second, third generation, fourth generations thriving, I think that will change things. And hopefully we can keep Meri Piri Academy going in a very prosperous. Academy. Yeah. Yes. So that's a flagship for us. It's a flagship, it's an international flagship, and it's very visible from Amritsar. So we pray for Meri Piri Academy.
Because of Meri Piri Academy and because of Chardi Kala Jatha, Guru, you know, Jagat Guru, as you know, is the principal of Meri Piri. Her Mandar Jot, the tabla player in Meri Piri, is married here in Malaysia to a Sikh, our Gur Sikh family. 30-40 years ago, you wouldn't see any Punjabi girls in Punjab wearing you would say a turban. Now you see so many Punjabi girls wearing turbans. They look far more beautiful, more like princess than ever before. You know, so I've lived those times when I've seen my Punjabi community disagree with Siri Singh said that yoga didn't exist in Gurbani. Yes, but the yoga that Siri Singh Sahib brought to us is from the Gurus and Kundalini yoga combined. It's not the yoga of the yogis that met Guru Nanak. This yoga that Siri Singh Sahib bring to us also has Nad Yoga, has Saj Yoga, has Raj Yoga, and Guru Nanak's own children were yogis. Baba Siri Chand was a yogi. All the way, yoga has been part of us. But what is the type of yoga that is important in this age? Siri Singh Sahib told us once He said, I went all over in my days of learning how to do yoga. I went to Tibet. I went to Sri Lanka. I went to the mountains. I went in underground. I met yogis. I met sadhus. But then I realized that what we have to do in the age of Aquarius has nothing to do with the age of Kali Yuga. And these were the yogis of Kali Yuga. So what I learned from the yogis, I'm thankful, but what I'm delivering to the rest of the world is the yoga of the age of Aquarius, yoga of Satyog coming back into our lives.
Vaheguru. Vaheguru. There are some questions. Is anybody reading the chats and the Q&A? There are maybe just a couple of questions if anybody wants to address them, or if they need to be translated, please. Somebody's wondering if we can envision a time when people at both ends of the spectrum, I suppose the pro-Yogi Ji and the pro-anti-Yogi Ji, can come together and arrive at agreement to honor each other's process. Anybody wants to talk about that?
Well, I think I've said quite a bit, but I'll make it short. Everyone is going through a moment in time in their lives. Lot is changing around us. A lot is changing around the world. Crises are emerging in our societies, our communities. There were anti-yogi and or people who are for yogi. That is an experience even Guru Nanak and all of our gurus went through. And what we are going to learn out of it is that for those who feel that citizens have served them well, our job is to serve those who feel betrayed by citizens. We need to make them understand that it's not just citizens that came through in the teachings. It is the gurus who came through in our teachings. And the experience that we are going through, whatever those experiences are, it is our personal experience of what we have gone through, our traumas that we have gone through, and the shift in the consciousness, the crisis that is happening around us. All of those things are a moment in time that's going to teach us how we're going to grow. And I believe this is the greatest opportunity that we have been given. We've been given an opportunity to serve. As citizens have came to serve us when we were just hippies in Woodstock.
Vaheguru. Vaheguru. Anybody else? Liptak, are you seeing any questions there? I know it takes time to read them and translate. Are there any that we need to address? Yes? Can you tell us somehow? I'm looking on the side there. Okay. I can hear you. Yeah. So them is the administrators and the people that follow their guidance. I think that's the them. Ideally, we'd speak less of them and more of us. There's no us and them. We're one family. Some of us are orphans, but really we all belong to the same group.
the interesting thing is that KRI, Sikh Dharma, Khalsa Council, Siri Singh Sahib Corporation are all coexisting in Espanola as we speak. There might be confusion created in people's life because of the olive branch report. But those of us who knew the case and the cases against Siri Singh Sahib from 1985, Guru Tirth was there for sure. Guru Tej was there. Uh, many of us were there with him. We lived through those times where Siri Singh Sahib himself had to go to court. And in and this is one experience Siri Singh Sahib had walking into court. And as you know, he never went alone, right? So he is walking into a court with 40, 50, 60, 70 in his delegations, and the judge stands up.
Judge stands up.
Stands up and bows down to him, not knowing that you actually should really be bowing. Siri Singh Sahib bows and sits, and of course the opposition is already in shock. No word has exchanged, but they know they have lost the case.
Waheguru.
Right?
Waheguru.
This is not a trial by a judge. This is not a trial by anyone who feels comfortable or not comfortable by Siri Singh Sahib. This is a trial by our own consciousness. Where are we in our consciousness? What did we get out of this? What do we understand? Some who have been with us for 30, 40 years are in confusion. But will they remain in confusion? It's up to them. Are they going to emerge out of consciousness? It's also up to them. They are right there in Espanola. KRI, I know Amrit, and I've known Amrit, who is the chairman right now, number of times. He was chairman of KIIT before. He was chairman of KRI before. He moved to Los Angeles. I've known Amrit very well. Amrit himself might be under a lot of pressure in KRI for all the competing things that people want him to do. Some want him to remove Siri Singh Sahib's name from all the KRI manuals. Some want more of it. These are challenges each and every one of us are facing. And I guess time will tell who is going to emerge, who is going to lead us collectively or individually through this time. But let's not make the mistake of saying that those who are against Siri Singh Sahib are, you would say, the evil ones or the bad ones here. They are experiencing something they've never experienced before. They have never seen an outpouring of guilt, anger, and emotions and abuse, maybe in their own life and right now in our whole community. But we made a promise to our Guru, right, to live as a community. This is our community. When our community goes through, when a child in our community goes through certain emotions, certain challenges, we don't say that you are no longer our son, you're no longer our daughter, you're no longer part of our community. We will have people within our community who are going through challenging times, who are in confusion. But let us have them in our prayer. If they cannot raise the consciousness by their own self, let's we help them. That When we say in our Das Chardi Kalla, we say Sarbat Ka Palla. Sarbat Ka Palla means Palla for everyone, consciousness, help for everyone. And we cannot exclude those who might feel that this is not the place I should be. I am not happy with Siri Singh Sahib. They're still part of us. Let's make them part of us in our daily prayers, in our daily ardas.
Prabhujap Singh Ji, can you lead us out with some chanting?
First of all, I wanted to say that I'm a troublemaker too, like you.
Uh-huh.
Can't agree with these peaceful words. I think that sometimes you're too kind. You're too kind because how can I accept as one community people that called my master as a rapist, as a pedophile, and something like that? My heart is bleeding. You know, I can't accept that they are still the part of a community. They're not. It is about them or it is about me. Should I go out from the community or what? Because I can't accept these words about my master. And for example, I can give you an example. In Russia, there is a strong tradition of peaceful homophobia. That's what I call it, peaceful homophobia. So some part of my community just put an LGBT sign into KRI sign. So what should I tell to my students, to my Russian students? How can I explain it to them? Because I didn't want to put this sign on yoga organization because it's different. Yoga is about yoga and LGBT is about sexual relationship. But they put it together. They didn't ask me about it. So now I'm confusing because my students will ask me, Prabhujap, what is this? Why on Kundalini Research Institute there is an LGBT sign? What is wrong? What the hell? So I can't accept it on this part of times, on this period. I can't accept it at all. I can't accept these words like pedophile and rapist about Yogi Ji. I just can't accept it. Is it a problem in me?
Well, let's put it this way. Siri Singh Sahib has been in all our lives. Well, I was personally with him. He was my spiritual father. I only called him Pitaji, and Pitaji, as you know, in Gurmukhi or in Punjabi means father. If Siri Singh Sahib was here with us today, this is what he would say to all of us and to you, Prabhujot, that we have always said, and Siri Singh Sahib have always said, see God in all or see not God at all. Guru and God always exist even in the people who feel most betrayed. But do you walk away from them? Do you say to them that just because you are calling my father a rapist, that there's something that you could not learn out of it? What is true and not true, people do not know. I've been there. I've slept outside the dome. I've slept inside the dome. I've been with him in every aspect of his life for 15, 20 years. And I realized one thing, that when he had people even who came to see him, who felt betrayed by Siri Singh Sahib, even while he was alive, he would sit there and look at them and say, pour your heart out. Give up all this emotion. because you have come to the Guru. You have not come to Siri Singh Sahib. You got to release your energy of whoever you think or whatever you think that me as Siri Singh Sahib or Yogi Bhajan have betrayed you for. But ask yourself, are you here to heal or are you here to live in this crisis constantly? For the LGBT community or the different communities out there who might experience this latest crisis and seeing someone write books about Siri Singh Sahib that he was a rapist, he was a womanizer. They didn't experience Siri Singh Sahib as closely as some of us did. And even when Prem Kaur came back in 85 and wanted to be the chief of staff again, he said, Vaheguru, that you are back here again. But you who took me to court will certainly not be the chief of staff, but you can go work in a call security. He never said to her, you are no longer part of the community. He never chased her away from being part of the community. And if this entire episode of Olive Branch have started again from her book, she hasn't come out of her own neurosis. You know, she imagine, let's imagine one thing. If I take all her testimony in court that happened in 1985 and all her writings of her in her book, there is a contradiction. There's a lot of contradiction of what she said in court back in 85 and what she is saying in the book. And this contradiction is showing up right now. This confusion is showing up right now because of this book, because of this Olive Branch report. For those of us who have lived all of those things, we realize the confusion is coming from the individual, not from the teacher. The teacher has always been there. The teacher wanted to, Siri Singh Sahib have said this, don't live in your neurosis. Don't live in duality. If you think that I have betrayed you, then go directly to the Guru. Pour your heart out. But learn one thing. Learn there's a higher self that the Guru can take you to. If you think Siri Singh Sahib and Yogi Bhajan have betrayed you, then let the Guru show you the way of what is right and what is wrong and where you should be. This is the message that we should be taking to all our students, everyone we meet, who feel all this present challenges that we are going through. I hope this helps you, Prabhujap.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, son. It's time.
Yes.
Okay, everybody. Prabhujap, you got an instrument there? So I'm going to go on mute,
Yes,
and you,
yeah.
everybody go on mute except for Prabhujap.
What should I play? Made a long time?
In English.
Made a long time sunshine upon you. All love surround you. And the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sunshine upon you. All love guide your way on. Guide your way on.
Formless in every form, light in the darkness, healer of all illness, uniter of all separation. We thank you for bringing us together for this convocation, for this dialogue, for this meditation. Please keep us in your heart. Help us to manifest the great vision, the great love, the great sacrifice of the Siri Singh Sahib in our own daily lives. Let us see God in all, because we know what the opposite is. Recognize the God in everybody, in all actions, every day, every moment. And bring light and bring courage. Bring the courage of the Siri Singh Sahib, courage of the Khalsa, and the Sarbat Tabala, the spirit of goodness to all, wherever and whenever we are, by the Guru's grace. Satnam.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone,
Thank you,
visible
Guru.
and invisible, for participating. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Gurminder, Prabhujap, Liftar, y a todos, everybody.
And participants, we have another next week and next week and next week and next week. If you don't know how to register, we will be emailing you how to do that. Next week, we're going to South Africa and Colombia. God bless you all. Satnam.
Thank you.